Sinbad. Damn, bro. Talk about a fall from depravity. So, I've caught up with the Magi manga yet again, and my gosh, the past, I don't know how many chapters, I think I had about like 10 or so, maybe 15 chapters that I had to read, and damn, son, yo, I would have never thought. I mean, I always knew there was a huge possibility that Sinbad could turn out to be, an evil piece of shit because he always had that little other side that even back in Balbad when they first ran into him, Aladdin never fully trusted him. When he was asking Aladdin, yo, be the Magi of Sindria, Aladdin always had that apprehensiveness towards Sinbad. He was like, I don't know, something off about him. And when we last spoke about Magi, when I talked about the strongest character out there, Sinbad, because he had just attained the power of a god to create destiny, defeating Ugo and taking control of the palace, I was like, this dude is unstoppable. What the fuck are you gonna do? Thankfully, even though it was convenient plot device, ultimately, a couple of characters aren't affected by what he's done with rewriting the White Rook. So that was, I guess, essential because obviously, if not, everyone's gonna be under his spell. So we have 4 characters, 5. The other one is a joke character. He's kind of like a nobody or whatever. But we have 5 technically characters that are not under the control of Sinbad. But right now, what we have against him, Alibaba, Aladdin, Hakuryu, and Judar. So we got 4 motherfuckers, and man, just to see Sinbad, what he's become right now, I need to talk about some Sinbad because it's just been fucking insane. For starters, motherfucker doesn't have a real body anymore. Like, essentially, he seemingly has one of those bodies that the people from Almataran or Altharman had, those fake bodies, a mannequin body, or maybe it's something a little bit different. But nevertheless, we see that he essentially truly isn't human anymore. He's just there via the power of the Rook, but ultimately, he's trying to become a god with not even having a real body. So he's honestly, from everything I've seen based on these, again, past 10 or 15 chapters or so since he's become God, he's fallen completely out of whack. He is fucked up in the head beyond belief because he truly continued on with his ideals and became more distorted throughout time. As time went on and progressed, he just became completely batshit crazy. And that's that Ugo was already fucked in the head from sitting in the palace for sextillion fucking years. The dude was in the palace for beyond comprehension. So Ugo went absolutely nuts. But then Sinbad, he's not far off from what he's trying to do. Essentially, if you're not reading Magi right now, I think this right here, what I'm about to drop on you guys, might give you an incentive to get back on that shit. Sinbad wants to commit global suicide to get everybody back into the Rook and restart the world. And I'm just thinking to myself, how did it come to this? Because this dude, he had a certain righteousness to himself, and I think truly this is why I say he's gone crazy. The fact that he would never want his people to die. No matter what, he would never, because his whole goal essentially was to protect the people around him, to protect the people that he cares about, because a lot of shit happened in Sinbad's past. He was captured, he's seen people that he loved die in front of him, so that was his ultimate motive, was to protect the people around him. So now, with the power he's amassed and the mental instability that he's, I guess, undergone at this point, he's doing something that is totally contradictory to what he initially set out to do, and that's protect the people he loves and cares about. Now he's trying to get everybody on board. Yeah, let's all fucking kill ourselves. That sounds so cool right now. And I'm just looking at them as like, you got all of them technically like wanting it, but it's only that they're wanting it because he rewrote the Rook. He rewrote destiny in a sense. And I'm just like, when they were having that debate, Alibaba and Aladdin against Sinbad, and kind of what's right, and should we be doing this when technically we're the only 2 people that want this? Well, there's really not much of a debate. So I felt as though that was kind of an unnecessary thing in a way for Aladdin and Alibaba to question themselves if they should be doing this, because they don't really want this. Even though they're still technically, they're not mindless zombies. All the people that are going behind Sinbad saying, yeah, we want to kill ourselves, it's not that they're mindless zombies. They're still themselves, just he rewrote the way they think. He rewrote them to think that, yeah, we got to think about, thousands of years into the future right now. We can't be thinking about ourselves at the moment. We got to think about the future. So I always felt when I was reading that why are you debating this? If Morgiana, for example, Morgiana fucking is not even, which we'll talk about her not being included in the arc, whatever, but if Morgiana's talking about, yeah, yo, let's all kill ourselves, why the fuck not? There's something seriously wrong. So when they were debating about that, I get it in a way, because out of their mouths, they're saying, nah, we want all this. But in actuality, when Alibaba was like, nah, I'm not standing for this. When Morgiana was saying, yeah, let's get married right before we do the big old genocide, I was like, come on, let's stop this. Which, by the way, talking about Morgiana while we're at it, it's really a shame that she seemingly isn't going to have a big part in the final arc because, again, she's helpless. She's under the spell of, or not spell, but the Rook has her controlled in her destiny that she can't overcome it. So it's unfortunate because the main cast has always been Aladdin, Alibaba, Morgiana. Add a little Hakuryu in there because he eventually became a staple. Hakuryu's kind of like the Sai from Naruto, even though I like him way more. He's way more interesting, way better of a character, all that good stuff, but he's always been like that fourth Phantom member. It's like we have the three main, and I guess Sinbad would be like Kakashi. I know. Why are you comparing it to Naruto? Shut the fuck up, okay? I'm giving you a good example so you can understand where my mind frame is. They're pretty much those, and Hakuryu's kind of been like the Sai, so that's how I kind of put it. But I guess ever since we had that big old fight between Aladdin and Alibaba against Hakuryu and Judar, it's kind of more so been the four of them, and the fact that they fell into depravity, if you think about it, it's almost topsy-turvy now, because now what was once considered bad, and like this is a bad thing, they're falling into depravity, they're becoming assholes, they're becoming monsters. It's a good thing because they weren't affected by the White Rook, because the White Rook essentially became something that is now being abused by Sinbad, and the ultimate goal right now is they want to destroy the palace, they want to get rid of everything. And again, it feels a little bit convenient, I'm not gonna lie, the fact that Sinbad is like, you know what, I'm not going to destroy you guys here and now, even though you're in the palace and I completely have every possible way to defeat you guys. I want to see if I can get proven wrong on this one thing that I've been questioning. And I'm assuming the fact that he wants to see if he can overcome their minds, and especially Aladdin. He never could, no matter what he did, overcome Aladdin's denial of him and unacceptance of him. I think that's possibly the one thing that he wanted to see throughout all of this, to see if maybe Aladdin is truly right and he can overcome all of this shit. And even though it's lit as fuck, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this final confrontation because it's been confirmed this is pretty much going to be the final thing. It does seem a little bit typical shonen-esque when like Judar is like, I'll stay behind and fight this one. So it is going that structure of like, they're going to run into a boss and one of them is going to stay behind and fight, and then so on and so forth as they continue, which there's nothing wrong with that. I've seen great cases like, you go to Yu Yu Hakusho when they're running through Maze Castle trying to fight the four Saint Beasts. They've done that. So it's a typical thing in shonen, but I am interested, and hopefully they do showcase the full extent of what's going down with these individual fights, because again, this is the finale. I don't want nothing skipped out, and that's again why I feel as though it's a shame. Like, I really wish, because Morgiana was connected with Alibaba and Aladdin, that she would have been able to overcome the control of the Destiny White Rook, because it's like, yo, it's final arc, man. She went to train with the finalists. She got that super fucking strength now, and it's like, I wanted to see Morgiana, so a little bit disappointed there, but honestly, the stakes, and it does feel very different from a lot of different series that I've seen in a sense of what we're at right now, because Sinbad becoming ultimately, he's God right now. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, and the fact that he has everybody still being themselves but not themselves at the same time is a very interesting concept. And I guess that's one question I want to throw out there to you guys immediately. Do you feel as though there should be any sort of conflict in the decision that Alibaba and Aladdin are making of, well, they're saying they want this, but we want this, and everybody else wants this, so should we go along with them? Do you think that really they should even consider or ponder that, when in actuality they're only saying that because Sinbad has fucked with their minds? So what do you think about that? Also, how do you feel about where we're at right now with the manga? Seemingly, honestly, I don't think we'll make it past this summer with Magi. I think Magi's gonna end by this summertime, which it's sad. All great things must come to an end. Also, how do you feel about Sinbad being the end boss and also essentially not even being human anymore? He doesn't even have a human body, so he truly was essentially killed when he tried to, raid the palace and defeat Ugo and all that shit. When Ugo took him down, he really was gone. But what do you think about his body right now? Also, what do you think regarding Aladdin having a confrontation with Ugo again? I'm actually excited to see that, because they haven't been reunited since what? Ugo got fucking bodied by Jadar back in, that was a long time ago. So it's going to be interesting, because in their first encounter, Ugo's already batshit crazy. So Ugo's still there, but he's going to be out of his mind. So they're not going to be reunited until the end of their fight. And I guess that's also proper in a way, because Aladdin started the story with leaving, his best friend, and his one wish, which I don't know if that was in the manga or not, I can't remember. I did read the entirety of the manga as well as watch the anime, but I do remember his wish was he wanted a friend and he wanted to leave, but he also took Ugo with him. I think it is proper that one of his final obstacles is to overcome one of the people that was essentially a surrogate father to him, because Solomon wasn't around. Solomon went bonkers towards the end of his arc, so it's it is appropriate for one of his final challenges to be fighting Ugo, which I'm assuming that's what's going to happen because, again, Ugo is fucking nuts. And I'm kind of curious everybody's opinions on what Magi is right now. Again, Sinbad final boss, he's God. They're trying to storm the fucking palace, and just seeing the final four, it's crazy. I can't believe we're here, but Magi's still been really awesome. Honestly, Magi, from the time I've been reviewing it, there's only been really one portion that I felt as though was way too slow, and that was the beginning of the time skip, the politics stuff. But aside from that, ever since I've been, jumping back on board in the last video I made, Magi's still been excellent. It's still very, very high quality shonen stuff. Obviously, it has a couple of tropes like I just mentioned regarding Jadara staying behind. They're gonna one by one stay behind to fight a, particular obstacle they have, but nevertheless, Magi's still absolutely amazing, and I'm kind of curious if you are reading it, what do you think about Sinbad? How do you feel about Morgiana being excluded from the final fight? Or do you think that there's still going to be more after this? This isn't going to actually technically be the final thing. Maybe Sinbad will turn into Il-Elah and they'll have one final confrontation and Morgiana's going to be able to jump on board then. And your overall thoughts of Magi thus far, seemingly with us being in the final act of this series. Are you hype? And if you're not reading it, Magi's almost ending soon, and it's been amazing ever since, started picking back up after the time skip. So I highly recommend you get back on that Magi greatness, people. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.